Donald Trump tore up a G7 agreement and lashed out at his allies as part of a demonstration of strength as he flew into Singapore ahead of Tuesday's crunch talks with Kim Jong-un, according to a senior White House advisor. The president's blistering attack on his Canadian counterpart, which he continued on Monday in Asia, was part of a ploy to offer no hint of weakness as he prepares for high-stakes nuclear diplomacy, said Larry Kudlow, chief economic advisor to the president, on Sunday. He was speaking as Mr. Trump touched down in Singapore aboard Air Force One, a few hours after Kim arrived with his entourage. Trailing in his wake was the turbulence of a G7 summit, all but sabotaged by a pair of incendiary tweets aimed at Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, describing him as dishonest and meek, as well as ordering his officials not to sign a joint statement on trade, Iran and climate change. He continued the offensive on Monday, saying, "Justin acts hurt when called out. Fair trade is now to be called fool trade if it is not reciprocal." According to a Canada release, they make almost $100 billion in trade with U.S. Guess they were bragging and got caught. Minimum is 17B. Tax dairy from us at 270%. Then Justin acts hurt when called out. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, June 11, 2018. Why should I, as President of the United States, allow countries to continue to make massive trade surpluses, as they have for decades, while our farmers, workers, Trump, at Real Donald Trump, June 11, 2018, and add to that the fact that the U.S. pays close to the entire cost of NATO protecting many of these same countries that rip us off on trade. They pay only a fraction of the cost and laugh. The European Union had a $151 billion surplus, should pay much more for military. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, June 11, 2018. It marked an extraordinary outburst against a nation long seen as one of America's closest allies, as world leaders accused Mr. Trump of undermining diplomacy in 280 characters. Mr. Kudlow, his chief economic advisor, blamed the Canadian Prime Minister for the breakdown. He insisted American president would not be pushed around by Canada just before meeting a crazy nuclear tyrant. Kim must not see American weakness, he told CNN's State of the Union. U.S. officials have taken pains to suggest that Mr. Trump's muscular, unconventional approach marks him out as uniquely qualified to pacify one of the world's most unpredictable dictatorship. For his part, Mr. Trump has billed the summit in Singapore as a one-time shot at peace. He told reporters waiting at the airport that he felt very good about its prospects before climbing into a limousine and heading to the hotel. Meanwhile, Kim, making only his third known trip outside North Korea, held a surprise meeting with Lee Hsien-loong, the Prime Minister of Singapore. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un shakes hands with Lee Hsien-loong, Singapore's Prime Minister. Credit Reuters. The entire world is watching the historic summit between North Korea and the United States of America, and thanks to your sincere efforts, we were able to complete the preparations for the historic summit, he told Mr. Lee. As many as 3,000 journalists have converged on Singapore amid tight security to follow developments. American and North Korean officials are due to meet on Monday to make final preparations for the summit on the resort island of Sentosa. Capella Hotel, Sentosa Island, Singapore. Mr. Trump is understood to be planning to use the meeting to develop a personal connection between the two leaders, dangling U.S. investment as a lure to the isolated, cash-strapped state. A source familiar with the preparations told the news website Axios that the president was particularly excited at the thought of getting iconic American companies, such as McDonald's, into the Hermit Nation. North, many experts believe, stands on the brink of being able to target the entire U.S. mainland with its nuclear missiles, and there remains deep skepticism that Kim is willing to give up weapons long seen as key to his regime's survival.